The very floorboards you've walked on to get to where we traveled, to get here, were traveled by George Washington. Maybe I do need my glasses. No? We are gathered here today to conduct the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Anthony Fallacaro. The Fallacaro family would like to thank everyone who came out today to join them in this celebration. And now I'd like to introduce the Master of Ceremony for today's Eagle Scout Court of Honor, committee member and former Scoutmaster of Troop 30, Mr. Jeff Davis.
Thank you all for joining us. I would like to now ask everyone to please rise as members of the Troop 30 Fallacaro at his attainment of the rank of Eagle Scout. Anthony's parents and Scout leaders have labored long and faithfully to guide him towards responsible citizenship through the Boy Scout program. The awarding of the Eagle Badge is an important and serious occasion, the climax and goal for which a Scout works for many years. It is an occasion of pride and joy. The Eagle Award is the highest and most coveted rank in Scouting. Statistics indicate that for every 100 boys who join Scouting, 2 will become Eagle Scouts. 1 will use his skills to save the life of another person. 1 will use his skills to save his own life. 8 will enter a vocation that was learned through the Merit Badge program. 18 will develop a hobby that will last through their adult life. And 17 will become future Scouting volunteers. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Russ Kantner, District Commissioner for the Clay District of Bucks County Council for the Boy Scouts of America, to open our court.
The authority vested in me by the Boy Scouts of America, I hereby declare this Court of Honor in session.
It's my pleasure at this time to introduce the Mayor of Morrisville, David Ravelli.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have a proclamation. I'm very happy, very honored to be here. Actually, it's a wonderful thing when I get to recognize someone great accomplishment. Unlike Ryan, who just said, "Here you go," I'm going to read it, so bear with me. It's not real long, though, I promise. All right. Because it's too important just to say, "Here you go." You work too hard for it. Whereas Eagle Scout is the highest rank attainable in the distinguished Boy Scouts of America, attaining the rank of Eagle Scout is a long-term goal, an important achievement that is worthy of special recognition. Anthony, as a member of the Boy Scouts of America Troop 30, has exhibited that he is deserving of such an honor and has displayed his leadership role by serving as a head chief, troop guide, junior assistant scoutmaster, the current role as an adult assistant scoutmaster. And whereas Anthony has demonstrated mastery of all scouting skills, has completed a community service project which includes taking the leadership role with regards to upgrading the security and safety of Summersea property, demolition and replacing the storage shed, adding additional solar-powered lighting, unearthing both walkways, cleaning, weeding, trimming, busy. But it was here at Summersea, so that's why I had to come say that. Whereas the Eagle Scout Court of Honor held this day, Saturday, June 21st, at historic Summersea Mansion, therefore it is resolved that the Borough of Morrisville, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, does hereby recognize and congratulate Anthony Edward Fallacaro for his receiving of honor to Eagle Scout.
It's my pleasure now to recognize the following individuals: Sharon Hughes, President; Karen Kane, Vice President; Diane Hughes, Treasurer; and Sandy Busby, Board Member. Ladies. Columbus, Father Joseph D. Gallagher, Council 3673 at Holy Trinity, Morrisville, where Anthony's dad, Ed, is also a fourth degree.
On behalf of the Joseph D. Gallagher Council, Holy Trinity Parish Knights of Columbus, we bring you greetings from the Supreme Council on behalf of our Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson. We'd like to present Anthony with this certificate acknowledging his achievement of reaching that esteemed rank of Eagle Scout for the Scouts of America. Congratulations.
Would all those reciting the Scout Law please come forward? You know who you are.
Hi, yes, I'm Bill Pitts, District Chairman for Claywinky. We're obviously very glad to be here today to congratulate Anthony on his Eagle, attaining the rank of Eagle. Clearly, first of all, it's great. His family support, that is, just a wonderful thing. I'm sure they've helped you along the way. And then, of course, all the great people associated with 230, the Scoutmasters Committee, they do a great job and definitely run a tremendous program. And finally, congratulations to you, Anthony. I'm going to go off script here a little bit. I do want to say something that's kind of a little different for Anthony, and that is, being an Eagle Scout, you're going to hear that people are going to look up to you. You have to set a certain example and all of that, and that is really a new responsibility that you be taking on as an Eagle Scout. But as the son of a Scoutmaster, I think you already have a really good idea of what it means to be the example. And, that is a bit of pressure, but, as you're going along, you trail the Eagle, it's that little extra, you have to, you understand what it means to be the example all through that. And now, we're actually going to ask you to live up to the higher standard. I'm not sure if it can be higher than what your dad expected, but that's what the ceremony is about. So, congratulations, and we're looking forward to your service.
Roles, first as District Commissioner. I enjoy going to the Eagle Courts of Honor for boys throughout the Claywinky District. And I love to hear about the projects that they've done. We have, with the combination of Hunterdon and Mercer County, we have about 250 Eagle Scouts in Bucks County Council every year. And their projects typically take about 100 hours. I would guess yours was at least double that. And that is all community service work that these boys have done, something that they are passionate about. Anthony did a great job here. This is my first time in Summer Seat. I think it is a beautiful facility. And I'm glad that Anthony and the fellow scouts were able to do something to help improve the facility. Now, I'm also the committee member for Troop 30. So I was able to hear about Anthony's project when he first presented it. And it sounded ambitious, but again, it sounded like one that I knew he'd be able to embrace and attack. And that's because in my third hat, I've known Anthony since he joined the troop, but I most got to know him at Camp Kirby, where he joined the staff as a counselor in training. And 2 years ago, was a director for one of the departments. Did an excellent job. So it's great to see scouts develop along the gap, and Anthony's been a great example. Congratulations.
These young ladies. Up here you see Robert Morris. If you go down to the corner of Pennsylvania Avenue, like Bridge Street, you'll see a nice big statue of Robert Morris. So, and if you read your history, this young lady, she's going to be here tomorrow. She'll tell you a little bit more, all right? All right, Joe Zerman, the old man here. Joe.
As the old single scout Bucks County, I congratulate the youngest. The Boy Scouts of America is the only Boy Scout that is chartered by Congress in 1910, and every year since they have been chartered. Being they're under Congress, the President of the United States is called on the Boy Scouts to do their duty. They first, Woodrow Wilson did it in World War I to collect war material, pitch pits, by the way, that were used for gas masks. They collected over 1 million pounds of pitch pits. Then World War II came along. President Roosevelt had the Boy Scouts help with the Depression, collecting food and clothing. Then they moved into World War II. He went before Congress to declare war. He said the Army has a job to do, the Navy has a job to do, and you too, the Boy Scouts of America, you also have a job to do. That became their slogan. We too have a job to do. Through World War II, they collected war material, paper, scrap metal, over 1 million pounds. Then they continued to help with the Depression, the people that were in Depression. But they didn't stop then. The Eagle Scout today do projects, single projects, which account for thousands of hours. The rest will go into that a little bit later. Also, in Congress called upon, or the President called upon scouting, they had the post office strike some stamps for World War I, World War II, and the 100th anniversary of scouting. I want to give them to you so much. They're rare. Years ago, they had a survey of Eagle Scouts. One question was, who helped you the most to become an Eagle Scout? Some said my dad, others said Scoutmaster, and others said the committee chairperson, but 87% said my mom.
Tony, I think that sounds much better. It's a pleasure being here with you, especially knowing your dad and family here for many years here. Around the clock, somewhere around here and there. Glad to see. We got our boy from Council, Executive Board, Todd Warner back here too. Nice to have him up here. Also, we got a little certificate here for you. Send to you. Anthony Edward Fallacaro, Boy Scouts of America, Bucks County Council, Lay-Wiki District. Honor, leadership, value, citizenship. Lay-Wiki District, Bucks County Council would like to recognize you today. You have been awarded the highest rank in Scouting. The Eagle is a leader, is exemplifies the list by the Scout of them all. We are proud to recognize you today as one of Playwood's Eagle Scouts on this 21st day in June 2014. Congratulations.
Very good. At this time, the gentleman reciting the Scout Law, please come forward.
A scout is trustworthy. Undertake not what you cannot perform, but be careful to keep your promise.
A scout is loyal. Be not hasty to believe flying reports of disparagement of any.
Congratulations on achieving Scouting's highest rank. Your accomplishment serves as an example of excellence and a source of pride for your family and our troop. I think life is a series of challenges, and by becoming an Eagle Scout, you have given yourself a great start towards succeeding in becoming one. The principles of Scouting that are part of you will help guide you in the success of your future endeavors. Making a difference in the lives of others is one of the truest expressions of leadership, and you have certainly learned that through the achievements of earning the Eagle Scout rank. One of the things you really learned as an SPO was to set goals. Earning the Eagle rank took many years and many goals. You couldn't have done it without them. It is this determination that makes you stand out as an Eagle Scout. It's also one of the keys to success in anything else you do, whether it's scouting, theater, chorus, or any future endeavors. I was lucky enough to work with Anthony beginning as a young scout. and I especially enjoyed his quiet enthusiasm for all things scouting. He was very quiet, and even if he did complain, he certainly didn't complain loud enough for me to hear, which I'm a little bit thankful for. On today's occasion, I've composed a short verse describing a special experience Anthony and I shared once at the hallowed Resica Fall Scout Camp in the Poconos. For Anthony, as a young scout, his fly fishing skills left a doubt about his good luck for a successful chuck of a dry fly to catch him a trout. He lathered the water that day with much grit, steel nerve, and rod flag. Though try as he might, the trout wouldn't bite, much to Anthony's dismal dismay. He watched as I cast my own line across the wild, cold, churning vine. And with ne'er even a swish, I hooked up with a fish, and his hope soared up to cloud 9. His eyes nearly popped with delight at the beautiful, splashy fish fight. Our scout was so awed, I gave him my rod so Anthony could keep the line tight. The fight was now on for our scout, as the trout jumped and more line peeled out. As Anthony reeled, the fish did yield, till at last we gazed at our handsome brown trout. Once landed, I told our young boy to free the trout ere we destroy the beautiful shine on his colorful spine for fishermen hence to enjoy. His courage began to dispatch at the mere thought of touching our catch. Fearing the wriggle or a slimy fish wiggle, our fish he wished not to dispatch. Anthony's hand I coached to comply. Freed the trout we did lest he died. So with one quick fish flip, like a great sailing ship, our trout was free, clear, loose, bye-bye. Of our scout and an old trout bone, the end of the tale has now come. But prepare for the case that will make your heart race. On this sport, hooked you soon could become. Outings together, Klondike derbies, camporees, weeks at summer camp, whitewater rafting, a little skiing, some coke. You worked with my daughter at Camp Kirby and Commissioner Cantner, experienced the high adventure of Sea Base, and is soon to depart for a life-changing adventure at Philmont. He's accepted the challenges that scouting has offered him, he's learned to succeed, and that is the hope of every Scoutmaster. So Anthony, thanks for setting the goals, doing the hard work, and developing the determination and attitude required for the rank of Eagle Scout, making this awesome. Now I'd like to introduce the proudest man in the room, Mr. Fallacaro.
With remarks at least, but pretty simple to do this one. When Anthony was young, I coached him in basketball from probably before he went to school through about the 4th grade. We moved here to Yardley in the 5th grade, and it was a year before we moved that I realized that if Anthony and I were to remain friends, it was better that I don't coach him anymore. And we had a mutual agreement. I would go to every practice and every game, but I would just sit there and like a normal dad to just watch, which was great with me. But then he started to do scouting. His friend Will, invited him to a meeting, and he asked me what he thought, and I said, give it a try. I was telling him try new things, and he liked it. He thought it was great. He was with his friends, and he was having a great time. So along comes summer camp, which is really Anthony's first long-term time of being away from home and sleeping in a canvas tent with spiders in it and everything else. And obviously, I remember getting there with him, and I actually went with him for the first night, and the horror on his face, horrible look on his face when he saw his tent and realized he was going to have to sleep in it, things like that. But in the tradition of his troop, there was an older scout. It was actually Stephen Penton that grabbed him and said, "No, here, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to set everything up." Set up his net, made sure he got it settled, watched after him, and even though he was nervous, at least he had some confidence and he had somebody looking out for him. And I remember leaving camp that night, or actually it was the next night on Monday, and he was not doing so well. I wasn't too happy. It was typical, he was homesick already, and I wasn't even off out of Okanagan yet. And I left, but I left him a note. And what the note said was, one of the things he enjoys and my kids enjoy is I have like a million stories about when I was young and And the note I left him said, look, this is where you make your stories. You know, enjoy summer camp, enjoy the experience, because scouting is going to give you the stories that you have in life. And I think that's really come true after all the years that he's gone through. So we went to pick him up on Saturday, and I remember Mr. Reimer came to me and said, he's a blistered mess. And so he apparently liked to start fire, so his shirt was black. He probably still has a little black on his shirt. But he had a great time, and you know, with folks like Mr. Davis and everybody looking out for him, he did great. He really enjoyed scouting. So I think that the next time that he, you know, I had some doubts when he said he wanted to be on Camp Kirby staff. He came to meet my wife and I, and we were interested to see how that transition was going to go, because again, he's going to be going away now for 5 or 6 weeks at a time, and we figured, oh, he's going to go away and he's going to come back and it's going to be a mess and his clothes are going to be dirty. And I remember he came back that night, and the other two guys, Sam and Nick, made him a cake, and he was fully dressed, he looked neat, his hair was combed, he had obviously showered, so it was all very encouraging. But he did great at Camp Kirby. I think the next challenge that I didn't know if he would survive is being the SBL while I'm the Scoutmaster. It was both of our first years. He is the senior patrol leader, and me as the Scoutmaster. But you know, we did great. But of course, when I was too tough on him, it was because I was his dad. When he thought I was too easy on him, it was because I was his dad. So it was an interesting year, and like I tell every SBO, the year after is when you're actually, in retrospect, see what you've learned. And it was great. We went to summer camp the year after his SPL. We're driving back in the car, and he told me, now I get it. Now I see you weren't rough on me, or you weren't easy on me, or whatever it is. And the future SPLs can tell you I was rough on them too. So, but it was great. We shared like some great experiences. We went to sea base, lived on a ship for a week together, put in a lot of hours here, working hard on the project together. And what I can tell you is the things I treasure the most are the amount of time that we get to spend together. That might not necessarily be on the trip, but on the way there or on the way home. We had some really great conversations, and that time is just time that we've really been able to share things that we might not necessarily, in this busy life that we all lead, have the opportunity to do so. And I tell people, it's not a great story, but at Seabase, you know, we had a great week. We lived on, you know, there's some pictures downstairs. It was just an incredible experience. So we're literally around the corner from Seabase in the bay. We're getting ready to do our last snorkeling dive. And Anthony turns around, and I look at his snorkel mask, and it's full of blood. You got to get a bloody nose before we hand off the ship. So you would think that would be a bad thing, but I think it was probably like the best hour that we spent there, because the two of us just laid out in front of the ship and talked about our week and talked about life, and it was just a really great experience. So very blessed to have scouting in our lives and for it to give us everything. And I would just tell you all, just stick with it, make sure that you work hard, your efforts will pay off. We were at orientation yesterday, and I heard this quote during orientation at this college, and I think it really fits within the realm of scouting, and I just wanted to end with it. It's from J.D. Houston, and it reads, if you want something in your life that you've never had, you'll have to do something you've never done. And that's clearly what scouting has provided to my son. And I thank all the leaders and everybody in scouting for providing us with the experiences we've been able to share together. Thank you.
The world constitute the most wholesome and significant movements in scouting history. And you, Anthony, have been counted worthy of this highest rank of its membership. All who know rejoice in your achievement. Your position, as you well know, is one of honor and responsibility. You are now a marked man. As an Eagle Scout, you have assumed a solemn obligation to do your duty to God, to country, and to your fellow Scouts. This is a great undertaking. As you live up to your obligations, you bring honor to yourself and your brother Scouts. If you falter, you bring down the good name of all true and worthy Scouts. Your responsibility goes beyond your fellow Scouts, to your country and your God. America has many things to offer you, and your children after you, but these things depend on the quality she instills in her citizens. You are prepared to help America in all that she needs most. She has a great past, and you are here to help make her future brighter. I charge you to undertake your citizenship with a solemn dedication. Be a leader and lead only toward the best. Lift up every task you do and every office you hold to the highest level of service to God and your fellow men, to the finest of living. We have too many who use their strength and their intellect to exploit others for selfish gain. I charge you to be among those who dedicate those skills and ability to the common good. Build America on the solid foundations of clean living, honest work, unselfish citizenship, and reverence for God. Whatever others may do, you will leave behind a record of which every scout can be proud. At this time, I would now like to introduce Troop 30 Eagle Scout and current Order of the Arrow Chapter President, Chapter Chief, Mr. Josh Brown.
I'm a very close friend, man. At least I think so. I've been with him through some good times, some bad times, some indifferent times, some times where we just sat around and joked. A couple of times come to mind. When we were at sea base and we stopped to go to an area where they showed up a whole bunch of marine animals. And then instead of looking at the marine animals, all the kids there decided that the best thing to do was to go to the little water park inside this place, and we played for a good 30 minutes inside the children's area. So that was weird for the staff there that day. I've been with him through good times and bad times, and I'm proud to call him one of my closest friends. The Eagle Scout candidate will now take the Eagle Scout pledge. As the candidate takes this pledge for the first time, will those Eagle Scouts who are present in the audience please stand and reaffirm their pledge? Will each of you please give the Scout sign and repeat after me in unison? I reaffirm my allegiance.
I reaffirm my allegiance
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I thoughtfully recognize
and
take upon myself
the
obligations and responsibilities of the rank of Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best. To make my training an example. And make my rank and influence. Count strongly for better scouting. And for better citizenship. In my troop. In my community. And in my contact with other people. This I pledge my sacred honor. Eagle Scouts in the audience may now be seated. Though the words you used just now are similar to those by which you joined scouting, today they mean more than they ever could have meant at that time, or at any time in the past. When you pledged yourself to your sacred honor, using the same words which are found at the end of the Declaration of Independence, you seal your eternal loyalty to the code of the Eagle Scout. As one Eagle Scout to another, by the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is my privilege and pleasure to pronounce you an Eagle Scout. May the oath you have taken remain true in your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, Scouts and Scouters, I present to you Eagle Scout Anthony Fallacaro. You're welcome.
Mary, please come forward. It's time for the presentation of the Eagle Neckership. Rise.
Fallacaro name.
First of all, thank you all for coming out. I apologize for the heat, but it means a lot for me that you all were willing to bear through it just to be here. I'd like to thank all of our distinguished guests, all of my friends, family, scouting leaders, community leaders, everyone, my friends from Wood Services that were able to make it. Thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to give the mentor pins first and then give my remarks. So. I actually have 3 people in particular that were absolutely instrumental to the completion of my Eagle project, helping me get through the paperwork, through the actual project, obviously, and everything involved. The first person that I would like to bring up to get their mentor pin is someone who, when placed on a task, absolutely is working intelligently and working efficiently to get this task done. Someone who worked very hard on both the small path project we have outside next to the shed and the shed itself, and also took a nail through his foot for the sake of my project. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Evans up, so I can like to thank the whole Evans family for helping me through everything, helping me stay sane through 354 hours of work. Okay. Let's see. The second person I would like to give a mentor into is someone who was really my first example of an Eagle Scout, and someone who really put into my head the ideas of someone who worked hard through the same things I was working through. I'm sorry, it's losing my train of thought here. It's the heat, but I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I'd like to introduce Mr. Davis up, who so graciously volunteered. Well, I volunteered him to be my MC. Davis family, for Mrs. Davis, who was one of my teachers, for helping me out through everything, being my mentors, and absolutely shaping who I am today. The last mentor pin, I have the whole thing written up, but this grew downstairs and I can't wait to take it. I introduced my dad up through it all, through the pain and the difficulties there for me. He was my role model through it all, and without him I couldn't have. There's no way I could have gotten this whole project done on my own, so thank you so much. And again, I'd like to thank my whole family for dealing with me and all my ridiculous stress through this project. Everyone. Oh, fire remarks. Okay. So I'd like to thank you all again for coming out. It means a lot to me. If you're here today, obviously you've had a tremendous impact on my scouting career, my life, my academics, through flyers and all sorts of other programs. So thank you so much for taking the line today and helping me get to this great scout. I really can't emphasize how thankful I am to have each and every one of you in my life. People at summer seats, scouting friends, parents and families, Father Eckert for coming out today, thank you for Columbus, Lynn Evans for putting up with me. Wow, and I really don't want this to be as much a celebration of me as it is of an entire community of people helping me become who I am through academic so thank you so much for coming out today, and thank you for your support throughout my entire life.
Those of you are familiar with the operation of Anthony's Boy Scout Troop, at the end of each weekly meeting, I deliver a Scoutmaster Minute where I provide a short talk about life's lessons or scouting values. And I was thrilled when Anthony asked me to deliver a Scoutmaster Minute for his Court of Honor. The French author Georges Duhamel wrote, "We do not know the true value of our moments until they have undergone the test of memory." It is said that hindsight is 20/20, and that is because as you go through life, it becomes clearer which moments have shaped your life and which ones have not. With some big moments, it's easy to recognize their value. Other moments might not seem important at the time, but later you realize that they had a bigger impact than you originally thought. Scouting has provided you with a lot of moments, serving as one of Troop 30's youngest senior patrol leaders at the age of 14, sailing around Florida Keys and at Sea Base, and hiking the Appalachian Trail, just to name a few. What your mind will retain as memories of scouting later in your life remains to be seen. My hope is that years from now, when you think back about these scouting memories, you will perceive that at least some of them were valuable to you and your development from going from a boy to a man. Anthony, congratulations.
The Fallacaro family would like to thank everyone who enabled Anthony for the gift of scouting and for being positive influences in his life, and also thank the distinguished guests, family, and friends who joined us today. Let's give our new Eagle Scout one more round of applause. And then this, of course, is the key to your apartment, your car, first keys to life. Keys to the rest of your life. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, and you're supposed to tell him that when he finds the coin in his sock drawer, when he moves out of his parents' house, that reminds him that he's supposed to give back to scouting.
Right. Now I'm wondering. See, even Trish could do it. Now I'm wondering if Trish wrote that line for you. Yeah. All these years, I thought it was you who had that line. You need a song.
No, she's memorized.